Hey friends, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. Today is September 19th, 2021. So as I said in last month's creator update, we are pretty delinquent for the month 19 creator update. This one will cover stats from mid-August through mid-September. And then I always ramble a little bit about usually a specific topic. I didn't have anything pre-picked out this time, so I think we'll just talk about the trip a little bit. So sorry this is late, but you knew that was coming. I'm so thankful you're here and stay tuned. Alrighty, so we literally got back yesterday from the trip. Yesterday we arrived probably 6:30 or 7, had to unpack our doggo and, unpacked our things, started chores. I have so much laundry to do. Today is Sunday, so more laundry and slept in a little bit, but, grocery store, meal prep, we got to get back into the swing of things to get ready for our full-time jobs again. I have not yet reviewed the footage that I took from the trip, so I did take quite a lot of pictures, and I tried to take some video both on this camera and then also on my cell phone because several of my great YouTube friends noted that the stabilization in the new iPhones was good, and I do have an iPhone 12 mini, so hopefully it's good. I am intending on splicing that footage throughout the vlogs. I'm intending on posting vlogs, but like I said, I haven't looked at the footage yet, so we shall see. I also was very cognizant of wanting to enjoy my trip while taking footage, so I didn't take footage of everything. I didn't take footage on every ride. I didn't take pictures of everything we ate or every lightning lane sign or anything like that. I didn't want it to treat it like a work assignment because it's not like I work for one of these Disney news outlets or anything. This was my vacation, so there will be bits and pieces where I just don't have footage of any of it. And, if you've watched these monthly creator updates, you probably get my vibe and sort of who I am to some extent, and I think you probably saw that coming, but just so you know, that happened. Also, in terms of the vlogging aspect, I did try to at least once a day, if not 2 or 3 times a day, sort of check in where we were talking to the camera, mostly me. Sometimes my partner did pop in just about what we were able to do and how we felt about things in the moment, but it didn't really happen in the parks very much. I found it really hard to find a secluded place that was decently lit so you could see our faces and also was quiet enough to vlog. So props to all you that vlog in the parks and have managed to figure it out. Part of it is also I am pretty introverted, so I think I'm still pretty shy about just vlogging and having people around me and look at me and all that stuff. But also there was always music playing loudly pretty much everywhere we were. And I don't really understand the copyright rules on YouTube, but I know that I don't want anything bad to happen. I'm not trying to get strikes or have to pull videos down or anything like that. So I just had a lot of hesitance all around about proper vlogging. Again, if you've watched these before, I think you knew that was happening, but I did try to have us at least talk about what we managed to do and any very highs or very lows in the hotel or on our walk over to the parks or in the car, somewhere a little bit more private. But yeah, so we were gone for 2 weeks. We did Universal for a few days. That was awesome. Velocicoaster was chef's kiss. It was so good. I love coasters though, so I think I knew this was coming, but and I don't want to have spoilers, so I'm not really going to say it, but there's just one part in the ride that was just I want to live in that millisecond of my life forever. It was just perfect. Hagrid's was also super good, and my partner and I, more or less avoided spoilers for those. I definitely did. I'm pretty sure they did. So, I didn't really know it was coming, and that made it super enjoyable. The Hagrid's waits were kind of rough, and they sometimes did the virtual queue. They sometimes just the standby line. It was all very confusing. There is a way with which I think Universal felt a little more disorganized and chaotic than Disney, but I also just don't put the time into learning Universal that I put into Disney World, so probably a lot of that's on me. And then we spent the next week and a half at Disney. We started off our trip with a Boo Bash night, which was a lot, but it was pretty awesome, so yay. And Maleficent was blowing fire, which I saw, I think, from the vloggers who went the first night. She wasn't doing that, so I was excited about that. And then, we had, 2+ days at every park. For the most part, we would do a morning park and an evening park. Sometimes we did stay within the same park. If you're hearing weird noises, my dog is at the door and wants to come in. You can probably see her little face right there. But anyway, so yeah, we had a lot of time, and even with all of that, we didn't manage to get everything done. We also very purposely, I think, went a lot slower than we normally do. So the longest amount of time we've spent in the parks before was 5 days, I believe, which meant that every day was pretty much like a 27,000 step plus day, and we were pushing ourselves really hard. And this time, rather than do like 3 hard days in a row and a full rest day, we didn't really take any proper rest days, and we just made every day like 15 to 22,000 steps instead. So it was just more of a relaxed pace. Oh, she's funny. We did do a tiny quick trip out to Blizzard Beach, which was the first time either of us had been to a water park. It was really nice. I'm glad we went. We didn't really manage to get in any pool time. There were 2 or 3 occasions where we had planned on it, but the inclement weather kind of rained on our parade, very literally, so we just like hung out in the room or in the lobbies or whatever instead. But we got to look at the pools, so that was nice. We ate a lot of amazing food. I'm very excited to talk to you all about that in more detail. And then in terms of like how I felt and crowds and safety and all of that, I mean, mask compliance at Orlando International Airport was terrible, which that's federally regulated space. So you're supposed to be wearing a mask and people just like weren't, and okay. The parks, Universal's masks are optional right now, and you can tell, like, I would say 80+% of guests are not wearing masks, even indoors, even like small children indoors in tight inside queues. We did 3 rides on the Hogwarts Express, and they're filling everything to full capacity, so 8 people, and only 1 time was everyone wearing a mask. And honestly, I was shocked that that happened, and everyone was an adult, so we rode with kids who were unmasked. Which I guess, you know, that's their parents' choice. But yeah, masks at Universal was like, not a thing. At Disney, there are clearly a lot of people who are going and will have a mask to comply, but they do everything they freaking can to not wear it. So all the time in lines, all the time in shops, all the time in hotels. And it's not, obviously there are people who just forget. Like I did this once. I got up in the middle of a meal to use the restroom, and I had my mask off because I was actively eating, and I forgot to grab it when I got up, and I started walking out the restaurant, and then I realized I didn't have it. I had to turn back and get my mask to go use the restroom. So that like genuine things happen where you do forget. Fine. Everyone makes mistakes. Fine. There was a lot of just blatant disobedience of cast member directions where, you know, they'd say, you know, oh, please put your mask on. They'd put it on for a second. As soon as they walked away, they'd take it off. Or they'd have it, you know, here. Cast member would say, please put your mask on. It needs to fully cover your nose. They pull it up for a second, pull it off. Interestingly, I saw a lot of incidences of parents who were unmasked in like ride lines, in indoor ride queues where at the time I was there, you were supposed to be wearing a mask, like kind of yelling at their kids to put their masks on, but then the parents weren't even wearing the masks. So yeah, the cast members are doing the best that they can. I think that's a very fair statement, and certainly it's a fine line for them wherein they want to enforce the rules, but you also want to avoid a crazy confrontation, and some of these people definitely had those vibes. But it's not 100%. Frankly, mask compliance in my hometown in the DC area, where we currently have an indoor mask mandate, much better, much higher. We pretty much never run into problems here, whether it's at bars, restaurants, inside our apartment building, inside the gym, except for one dude, but then he got in trouble on the public metro. Like even outside on the sidewalks is still decently good, especially depending on like how crowded it is. So yeah, mask compliance at Disney is medium. I mean, if you're expecting to go and thinking everyone will be masked when they're supposed to be, like that's just not true. And then there is no forced distancing. I would say even pre-pandemic, like in lines, I'm not going to be right up on the next party. I'll usually, you know, give them a little space. It's probably not 6 feet, but, you know, just like you have your bubble, I have my bubble. There's no reason we need to be crushed in here together, even pre-pandemic. And so we did that for the people in front of us. We would give them some space. People behind us were not giving us space almost ever. It's just as germy and crowded and like gross, and kids are licking everything, and that's what kids do. It's fine. But yeah, it's a lot. We used a lot of hand sanitizer. We washed our hands a lot. We wore masks a vast majority of the time. I double masked. I wouldn't say frequently, but we did it. We definitely did it during Happily Ever After. That was a madhouse. So yeah, I mean, I had a lot of anxiety. I have clinical mid-grade anxiety to begin with. And then when you put me in a situation where, you know, I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit stressed out about things. It's just very amplified for me. So it was overwhelming. I mean, I had a good time. I'm glad we went on vacation, but it was a lot. It was very overwhelming. In many ways, I think I had physically prepared for the trip pretty well. So we moved here in July, and then we basically had a month before we left, and I went to the gym 28 out of 32 days. So I was really trying to make sure that my stamina was up and I would be physically ready to go, and like my hips could handle it as best as I could, all these things. And I think that paid off a lot. Physically, I did really well. Arguably, I did better than my partner. But like mentally, the toll was a lot. And I don't really know how you prepare for something like that, to be honest. Not just the anxiety, but I think, you know, everything about that trip is pretty overwhelming. So, of course, I'm sad to be home, and like especially sad to be going back to my work. But it is just like a lot simpler. Like my brain feels so much lighter. I feel lighter and easier being here than I did in Disney. If there are any specific questions you all have about, you know, my experience or what I witnessed or anything like that regarding Universal or Disney, definitely leave a comment down below and I'll just reply to you directly, but we may also make a video about it eventually. And then I did also want to ask, we had 10 days at Disney and a few days at Universal, so I'm planning on doing vlogs, probably one per day. I might end up splitting them into two if it was like an extra long day or I had a lot of good footage I wanted to share. But so obviously that's, you know, 13, 14 plus videos. And I was considering sort of interspersing the actual vlogs from the trip with these sort of at-home sit-down videos of myself, or hopefully myself and my partner, talking about, you know, what was the best food we ate. We'll go over budget things. We can compare, contrast the hotels we stayed at, all that kind of stuff. So would you prefer those to be sort of interspersed where you have some vlogs and then some reaction videos to the trip? Or do you want to do all the vlogs and then all the reaction videos? Let me know. I'm happy to do whatever you guys would like to see. But like I said, if you do have more timely questions, just leave them in the comments down below and I'll just write back to you for sure. No worries. Overall, though, we did have so much fun. We got to meet up with a lot of friends, which was awesome, and I think made the whole thing a lot more special. We normally just sort of go and stick to ourselves and do our own thing, and while there's pros and cons to that, it is nice to see other people and really sort of solidify some bonds that we made over the internet, you know, solidify that in person. So that's great. I feel like there are a couple of people who are, you know, in my head before this trip definitely were sort of in my closer ring of friends. And now that we've hung out multiple times, I'm like, this is great. Like, we are best friends now. So you'll see and hear so much more about the trip from the upcoming post. So definitely stay tuned to the channel. I think I said this at the beginning, but, you know, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you all. I know most people don't watch these videos because it's not really about Disney. It's more about me. And, you know, there is a small, solid group of you that I really feel like are in my corner and we have a genuine connection. And I just can't, it's hard for me to describe like how much I genuinely appreciate that. And it's so scary to put yourself out on a platform like YouTube. And I mean, I do get hate mail, don't get me wrong, but you all are such positive, wonderful people. And I just love having this time with you. Let's get to the analytics. So I know this is incredibly delinquent, but you know, we knew this was coming. I was gone. I was on the trip when I normally would have posted this. So here we are. We're at month 19. So we're over a year and a half old now. Month 19 will run from August 11th through September 10th. For views, we are up over 4,000 views now, which is fantastic. We've been hovering around that number for a couple months, which is totally fine. For a bit there, we had a little uptick and now we're back down around 4,000, but I'm super good with that. Unique viewers did drop now. We're down to about 2,250. It had been hovering around 25 or 2,600 for a while, so we've lost some new folks, but, you know, that's okay. It's still over 2,000, which, like, 2,000 unique people watching my videos is pretty mind-blowing. And like I've said previously, hopefully with the vlog style coming, maybe we will pick up some new folks who are more interested in the parks and less interested in the sort of informational type stuff I normally do. This month, 316 of those 2,200 or so unique viewers were returning viewers, so thanks so much for coming back. Like I said before, there's, a small sect of you that we chat a lot, and I really appreciate that. And for everyone who, isn't willing to comment, that's totally fine. I still love that you come back and enjoy the content. There were about 420 watch hours this month, which is good. That is a little bit up over month 17 and 18, which were sort of not the best months that I've had recently. We're still a little bit lower than that like month 15, 16 high, but 420 hours for 1 month of content is pretty great if you ask me. And the average view duration actually increased a little bit. We're now at 6 minutes and 11 seconds for the month. I believe it was my friends over at Anaheim Theme Park Tours that mentioned they had seen something where anything over 6 minutes was good. So I don't know that I'll ever see this increase too much more, but it is still nice to see that little incremental jump. The percent average view duration then also increased, given that, the pure time increase. So we're now at 44.2%. Forever I will wish this is higher, but at least it jumped up a little bit this month. Overall impressions from the month was just over 60,000, so again, that's a little bit increase over the last 2 months, but still a little bit decreased from that high in months 15 and 16. The percent impressions from YouTube, though, did jump about 4% this month, though, so we're back up near 30%, which is great, and I hope maybe we can stay there. While I was on vacation, I was posting videos twice a week because they were just shorter, and I don't want to say they weren't good, but they weren't, heavy content, information packed. They were pretty light and easy, and so I just decided we'll post Wednesdays and we'll post Saturdays. And I don't know if I'll be able to keep up that pace because I don't think I can edit quite that fast now that I'm home. But, maybe with posting more regularly, we will continue to have this 30% or higher would be fantastic. We'll see. And then watch time from those not subscribed decreased to this month, which is actually good. So it was down to 66.5%, which is the lowest it's been in a really long time. So for all of you who are subscribed and are watching, I really appreciate it. You help out so much. And if you are watching but aren't subscribed, I would really love it if you did subscribe. It's totally free to you. It doesn't do anything. I'm not going to spam you, all that good stuff. It just really helps the channel out a ton. Interestingly, though, even though our watch time from those not subscribed decreased, which again is good, we actually didn't get very many new subscribers this month. So I don't know, pros and cons. The way you can think about watch time from those not subscribed is well, does that mean that people who aren't subscribed to the channel just aren't watching as much as they normally would? But we still got 420 watch hours, which is pretty good. So I don't know. I'm not going to try too hard to make sense of that. But we only got 19 new subscribers this month. Although when you look at the lifetime stats compared to last month, it was 20. So I'm not really sure if it's 19 or 20. The point is, it's low considering what it's been recently where we were getting 1 to 1.5 or so per day. So this is a little bit of a dip. Slow months happen, school's back in session, all these things. Hopefully it'll pick back up next month. For month 19, the top video once again was the PhotoPass, Magic Shot, and Memory Maker video. Continues to do really well. I think it has over 5,000 total views now, and my next highest video is 1,500 views. So fantastic, great. I'm not going to complain. After that, we had the DVC Ownership Fears and Anxieties video, which I'm glad. For the most part, the reaction to that video has been positive. When I talk about my anxiety and some of these other more personal things, I'm always pretty hesitant to put it out and pretty nervous about what the reaction will be and if I'll get trolled or whatever. But that's done well in terms of the tone of the comments. I'm really pleased with the community that has found their way to me in our little corner of the internet. Then, of course, the Disney Genie video has done pretty well, which, that's a huge news item, so no be surprised there. The Shoes for Disney video is next, which is great. Some of you left some really great comments and advice about brands that I'm definitely going to look into, so I'm really happy about that. And then, interestingly, the Ranking DVC Home Resorts video popped into the top 5 this month, even though we posted that 6 months ago almost. So I don't know what that's about, but happy to see it. Moving away from YouTube for a second, over on Twitter, I am now following 863 accounts and 783 are following me. And these stats were pulled today on the 19th because I just totally forgot to do it on the 10th or 11th since I was very busy being on vacation. And then over on Instagram, I am following 344 accounts and 267 are following me. So we are still seeing small incremental gains on both platforms, which is great. I had a couple tweets while I was on vacation that for my standards were pretty popular, so hopefully I'll find some new people to interact with, which would be fantastic. And then over on Instagram, I actually have been posting a little bit more regularly, so maybe we'll keep that up. I'm making no promises. Moving on to lifetime stats, so that's for the whole entirety of the channel, but only up through September 10th. I did cut it off before September 10th. We're now at just under 40,000 views, which is crazy. I definitely think we'll break 40,000 views before, the month 20 update. And that resulted in more than 4,000 watch hours. So, yay! Average view duration is 6 minutes and 6 seconds. It technically increased the tiny bit compared to the lifetime from last month, but it's basically the same. And same with then the percent view duration's essentially the same. We're at 42.5%. Overall impressions from YouTube, we have a little bit over 550,000 lifetime for the channel, so there's a very decent chance we hit 600,000 next month. And then impressions from YouTube this month did increase. We're up to almost 24%. That's awesome. I think if we have a couple more months where the monthly is like 30% or so, we could get this up to 25% or more, which I think would just be so cool and it would make me really happy. Again, I don't know how to get picked up by the YouTube algorithm, but I know it's a good thing, so we want to see this go up. Watch time from those not subscribed, lower here is better, did decrease a little bit, so we're down about 0.5% to 71.5%. And then overall subscribers is now 571, so hopefully we can hit 600 next month. 600 was basically my end of year goal for 2021, so I think we're going to smash that. Every month I increasingly think we're not going to hit 1,000 by the end of 2021, but I don't want to jinx it, and there's always a chance, so we'll see. If you want to help me with that goal and you think any of my past videos have been particularly useful, please do share those with anyone in your network, your friend group, on Reddit, on Twitter, whatever, Facebook, that you think may find that information useful and may enjoy the channel. I would really appreciate it. Overall, if we look though at month 19 alone and then lifetime up through month 19, it was a pretty good month. It definitely didn't smash any records, but we generally had increases in most of the categories that we care about, like views, watch hours, your average view duration actually went up, impressions went up, that impressions from YouTube, that percentage, that's almost at 30%, went up quite a lot this month, so that's great. The only thing that really decreased was the number of new subscribers for the month. It happens. I'm not getting bent out of shape about it, and we'll just keep trying to post good content and hopefully new subscribers will come along. Looking to the next month of content, basically there will be a couple more videos pre-trip, so we're doing a pack with me video, I think. I've never done a pack with me video before, and I need to look at the footage and see if it's silly or I feel too embarrassed or whatever to post it, but we'll see how that goes. And then I think we're gonna move into trip vlogs, which I am really excited about, and recaps from home. So like I was saying earlier, things like all the food we ate, the best food in various categories, sit-down restaurants, quick service, food and wine booths, that kind of stuff. I definitely want to do a detailed video of everything we spent. So the budget, more or less, we'll do the breakdown of the costs. And then, but let me know what you want to hear about, because obviously I would be happy to talk about it. I want to know what you all want to know. Although I will say, and I'll probably say this in all of the recap videos, big asterisk is that I have a hard time picking favorites. So if you're asking me to rank things or pick my favorite XYZ, I reserve the right to change my mind. It can definitely change on any given day. That about wraps this one up. The next monthly creator update should go out on time. I don't see any reason why it would be super late. That one will probably be posted in just a couple weeks on Saturday, October 16th. And that will be month 20. So I'm looking forward to seeing the stats from that time period, because it will include while I was on vacation and while I was posting twice a week for that 2-week period. And then we'll see if I can keep posting twice a week. Part of me wants to, because obviously if I have 14 to 18 vlogs, if I'm only posting those once a week, that's going to take a lot of months. And I don't know if I want to be posting about my September trip in next February. So we'll see. Also, hopefully we have some exciting things coming up on the horizon. I want to go see the Winnie the Pooh musical, puppet thing on Broadway. Hopefully in November. We're leaving that very flexible at the moment for COVID reasons. And then also, one of my friends is getting married out on the West Coast, and we're hoping to tack Disneyland onto that, and that would be in early 2022. So yeah, it would be nice to wrap up the trip vlogs before, the Disneyland stuff would start coming in, but all of that is still pretty up in the air, pretty flexible. My friend who's getting married even said oh, we're pretty sure we're gonna do this, but, you know, winter is coming. And public health wise, I think we all just need to do our best to stay safe, stay healthy, be well, keep an eye on things, and, you know, adapt to the changing guidelines as best as we can. Thanks so much for your patience with the lateness of this month 19 creator update. And as always, thanks for letting me ramble and get to know you a little bit better. And you all get to see me in a more natural, unscripted state. But seriously, let me know in the comments down below what you want to see from the trip and like the formats you want. Do you want it all of the vlogs, then all of the recaps? Do you want them interspersed? What are the topics for the recaps that you want to see? Like, I really want to know, because as much as I do this for me and for my fun, obviously I want the content to be helpful and useful for you too. Thanks so much for your input. The channel would not be what it is without you. I hope the rest of your day is super magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.